all kicking off at Arsenal after a transfer window which looked to be stalling, if not stopped. Arsenal are firing on all cylinders, guys. We're going to get into all of the details surrounding Arsenal's transfer business. A lot has gone on in the last few days, and I wanted to catch you up on it and also give you my thoughts and opinions in terms of how these potential players will fit into the team and some of the challenges that they may face. So, where do we start? Well, I think it's the biggest news that we have to start with. The transfer window has been dominated by this saga. Sesko or Gyökeres, that has been the question for the whole of the summer. It seems like Arsenal have settled on who they want. It looks like it's going to be Victor Gyökeres, and to be honest with you, that's the man I wanted. It's been a long saga, as mentioned, and from an Arsenal fan perspective, incredibly frustrating. We know we've wanted a striker. We've wanted a striker for very, very long. And what every fan has said is that we want a proven goal scorer. We want a gunman. We want someone who's going to continuously fire the ball into the back of the net. And Sesko, with all the potential in the world, with as good as he is, 6'5", the ability that he has, the running power that he has, the ability to be on the end of things, to score quite magical goals is a skill within itself. However, the numbers don't back up the price tag. There's reports that Leipzig are looking for 90 million euros for the young striker. And to be honest with you, when you've scored around 13 to 14 league goals over the last 2 seasons, I just can't justify that price tag. And there's reports that they're looking for 100 million plus. Again, I just can't justify that price tag. Even though the potential is evident for all to see, it has to be backed up with the performances. And yes, he's done decently well, but not to the level where I would say that fee can be demanded. And when you look at Victor Gyokeres, he is somebody who has been proven with the numbers. Yes, there's questions about the Portuguese league, what he did do in the championship as well. He is somebody that I think would fit into Arsenal very, very nicely. The biggest thing about him, honestly, if you ask me why I wanted him over Sesko, obviously the goal scoring record is one, but two, I think there's a mentality difference. Gyökeres looks like he has a mentality that will fit very well in the Premier League. He has a dogged mentality. He has a rough and tough attitude towards the game. He doesn't seem to be deterred easily. And I think that will fit Arsenal very nicely. It's also a contrast to some of the styles that we have higher up the pitch as well. He seems to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I think that chip will grow moving to Arsenal with the questions around if he can survive, how will he get on? They will continue. And I think he is somebody, one, who will try and live up to those expectations and surpass them. Two, I also think that the Arsenal fans need somebody that they can hang their hat on. With Sesko, there was questions last season if he was ready to take over from Havertz. Apparently, he didn't want to compete with Havertz or come to the bench for Havertz. And I don't think Gyökeres will have that problem. He will be someone who will be pushing to start. He will be someone who believes he can do the job. And again, Arsenal have somebody that is a little bit different to what they have already, especially from a mentality standpoint. Brilliant on the counter attack, big runner, powerful player. And yes, he is 27, but I think this is what Arsenal need, a bit more experience, a bit more of a different make up front is exactly what Arsenal are looking for. And that's the big one for Arsenal. If they can get a striker, I believe it almost turns the tide for Mikel Arteta in terms of the fans. If they can get a striker who is scoring, who is firing, that could be Arsenal's missing piece. One other piece that has been added and confirmed today is the signing of Martin Zubimendi, the number 6, who Arsenal have been chasing for a very long time. And not only Arsenal, teams like Liverpool, teams like Real Madrid have all had interest into one of the best defensive midfielders in world football. And I'm excited to have him at Arsenal, especially with the news of Thomas Partey's contract not being re-signed. We know about some of the other news that has come out recently, and that can be discussed in another video. But in terms of player for player, I don't think Arsenal are going to experience a lot of drop off. There may be small intricacies here and there. However, I think Zubimendi has the ability that Partey had in terms of linking up the play, in terms of breaking the lines with his passing, in terms of dictating the play. I think actually Zubimendi may be better at that. One of the aspects I do worry about is the physicality of the Premier League. He's done very well on the international stage and with Sociedad in La Liga. However, the Premier League moves at quite a pace and quite a physicality. And well, Partey did show his deficiencies sometimes in his defensive positioning. In the physicality department, he was very good in holding his own, and so that will be a question. But when you've got someone like Declan Rice to the side of Zubimendi, and Zubimendi hasn't really shown himself to be overawed in any of the duels or the competition he's faced throughout his career. I think Arsenal are in a really good position. He will bring a level of orchestration in the Arsenal midfield that will be needed at the six and that we probably haven't had in a long while. He will be a true tempo setter, someone who will essentially set the foundation for Arsenal to play the football that they want to play. And with Declan Rice being moved up the pitch, it almost frees him a little bit to do what he will need to do best, and that's that box to box attacker. So I am very, very happy about us getting Zubimendi. Yes, one, his role, two, the fact that it gives Declan Rice the ability to roam and control higher up the pitch, be a real force, and cause a lot of issues with his ball striking, with his direct running, with his running power. It gives a lot of opportunities to him. And that's what exactly Arsenal were looking for. One of the challenges will be obviously gelling with the midfield. Currently, it's looking like Rice, Zubimendi, and Odegaard will be that midfield three. Again, that is a midfield that on paper looks like one of the best in the Premier League, but there are a lot of good midfields in the Premier League, a lot of talented midfields, and they will need to gel. They will need to find out their roles and how they will play together. One of the key things that this midfield will need to achieve is that ability to create. They will need to create because that was lacking last season in the midfield department, and that's something that needs to be backed up and done very, very well. The next deal that looks to be ramping up in speed and one that is splitting the Arsenal fan base in two, I'll probably say is weighted to like 70-80%. Probably aren't looking at Noni Madueke as being an Arsenal player or wanting him to be an Arsenal player. And there's a number of factors as to why that is the case. One, coming from Chelsea doesn't look to be a move that Arsenal fans are overly excited about, given the players that they've sold to us in the past and how they've performed. Secondly, Madueke again isn't what Arsenal fans were looking for at the start of the season. Obviously, left wing has been a big priority for us, but we can't forget the fact that Arsenal don't really have an out and out backup for Bukayo Saka. That's one of the things that cost us last season. I don't think Ethan Nwaneri is that winger for us. I believe he is the heir to Martin Odegaard's position, and with that in mind, you still need a backup. And Madueke, if he is that person, would be a very, very good backup. I think for me, when I look at him, yes, he's not the perfect player or the finished article, and he wouldn't have been my number one pick, but you're talking about someone who has the ability to play both on the right and left wing, someone who it appears is comfortable and happy to join the Arsenal squad, knowing his position isn't going to start on the right wing, given that we've got Bukayo Saka. His ability to play on both wings is a big plus for us. One of the biggest things for me is his dribbling ability. He has an ability to take on players. He has an ability to complete his dribbles at such a high level that the reason that I think it's being entertained by Arsenal is his ability on the ball, his ability to take on players, his ability to dribble. And I think that is what probably appeals to Mikel Arteta. Someone who can take the ball by themselves, break down a fullback, break down a wing back, and then deliver a ball into the box. That is something that Madueke does very, very well. His ability to go out wide and then cut in is very, very impressive as well. Again, it's the one-on-one threat. His ability to take on a player one-on-one and potentially leave other areas of the pitch wide open. I think that will be very, very good. I'm surprised that he's potentially looking at this move. But then again, I think the position that he sees himself in Chelsea is changing rapidly. They are signing more and more wingers. They just got Gittens, who will be joining very, very soon. And what does that mean for Madueke? They also have the young Brazilian from Palmeiras coming in as well. A lot of changes coming on that Chelsea wing. And so Madueke will probably be looking at Arsenal as being a good opportunity, a place where he can develop and still get good game time for a couple of years and then see what else is out there for him. But I'm not completely against it as long as Arsenal don't give up their pursuit of a left winger. If you're saying Madueke will be that left winger for Arsenal, then potentially I've got a problem. If you're saying that he's someone that we will add on to what we've already got and get a left winger, then that will be my preference. If you're saying he is the left winger and he will be the one challenging Gabriel Martinelli and also Saka and supporting Saka, I have a little bit of an issue there. But then I'm not mad at them looking at options for Arsenal. We need depth. We desperately need quality depth. One of the other deals that was confirmed earlier this week was Kepa, who is coming in. He will be challenging David Raya, and it's very, very good cover because I don't think anyone ever trusted Neto, to be honest with you. He wasn't someone that I think Mikel trusted either. Kepa is somebody that's going to keep Raya on his toes, and I truly believe you need an excellent number two. Why should you not have an excellent number two? Because he might put pressure on the number one? Good. The problem with Aaron Ramsdale is that he couldn't keep up. He couldn't match the pressure. And so David Raya will have to prove he can keep up with the pressure. David Raya will need to prove he can keep up with the pressure that Kepa will provide. I do think he will have a I do think he will have an easier time of it than Aaron Ramsdale because I think Kepa is the backup. But nonetheless, there is that pressure there. You do have someone who was starting last season very, very often. And again, the challenge will be there. So Arsenal are making noise. And I think Arsenal fans will be happy that at least they're hearing something now. Something is coming out. Arsenal are doing something. Berto and Mikel are looking at improving the squad, and that's all you can ask. I think Arsenal, again, going forward, will have their challenges. Yes, getting those players into the team and accommodated will be one of them. Making sure that they have a solid squad rotation, despite any injuries that may come their way. I do think that they still will try and get the young Valencia centre back to slot in and have that depth in that right centre back position. I do think they will be looking at that. I do think again they need more creativity. I would say if you're not trusting Ethan Wanyeri, there's a problem because there's questions about if he's going to sign a new contract, and there's interest from everywhere. I think you need to platform him. I think if you don't believe in him or you think he's your third number 10 or number 8, then you need to get somebody else. You need to get somebody who's going to push Martin Odegaard or maybe even usurp Martin Odegaard. And it's up to Martin Odegaard to reclaim that position. But if the pressure is Wanyeri and you don't trust Wanyeri, it's not pressure. One more creator or attacker is needed. Again, that left wing position is something I think Arsenal need to improve on. Rodrigo, we've heard about. I'm not sure if that's actually going to take place. Would love for it to. And I think the rest of the team is in place for Arsenal to do really, really well. In summary, I think these signings make Arsenal very strong. It will put Arsenal in a stronger position, but that other attacker or other creator is desperately needed. If Arsenal can get those players settled in quick and acclimatized, they will be in that position. Currently, I think they're ranked third, in my opinion. Liverpool seem to be in the best position after a really good transfer window. Man City, the same, have probably upgraded, and then Arsenal, you'd probably say are third. If Arsenal can complete the signing of Victor Gyokeres and bring in that left winger, number 2 and challenging for number 1 will be in their future. They are a good enough team, I believe. But again, they need that depth. They need that depth in all areas of the pitch to be a title challenging team. And that's where Arsenal fans want them to be. Guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions. What you're looking forward to most. Should Arsenal have continued to pursue Sesko? I want to hear it all. It's been EDA. Peace.